5 years ago, I had exactly $27 in my bank account. I also had over $30,000 in debt, and this constant gut-wrenching dread every time my phone rang. I just knew it was probably a creditor. I felt completely trapped, and the whole idea of financial freedom felt like a total fantasy, something for other people, but definitely not for me. The weight of it all was suffocating. I was drowning, living paycheck to paycheck, and if I'm being honest, I was terrified. In this video, I'm not just going to tell you it's possible to escape that feeling. I'm going to show you the unfiltered, step-by-step journey of how I went from that rock bottom to where I am today. I'm sharing the practical steps, the critical mindset shifts, and the hard truths I had to face. This is the real story of how you can start your own journey today. The turning point. For me, the turning point wasn't some dramatic movie moment. It was more of a slow, painful burn that ended in one of the most humbling experiences of my life. I was at the grocery store. I remember it so clearly. I had my stuff on the conveyor belt. Nothing fancy, just the basics. The total came up, something like $78. I swiped my debit card. Declined. My heart just hammered against my ribs. I tried it again, praying it was a fluke. Declined. My face felt like it was on fire. I could feel the shame creeping up my neck. The cashier gave me that look, a mix of pity and impatience, and I could feel the line of people behind me getting restless. I had to make a decision right there in front of everyone. I started taking things off the belt. That block of cheese I was looking forward to. The chicken. The bag of coffee. One by one, I was just publicly admitting defeat. I walked out of that store with one small bag of essentials and this overwhelming sense of failure. I got in my car, sat there, and just broke down. It wasn't just about the groceries. It was the constant stress, the lies I told myself, the avoidance. I was an adult who had zero control over my own life. My money, or lack of it, was controlling me. That night, something inside me just snapped. The humiliation I felt in that store lit a fire in me. I was done. Done being a victim of my own circumstances. Done avoiding the calls, ignoring the mail, and living with that constant knot in my stomach. I decided, with a conviction I hadn't felt in years, that I was going to change. I didn't know how, not really. I didn't have some grand plan. But for the first time, I was truly ready to face the mess I'd made and do whatever it took to clean it up. That night was my rock bottom, but it was also the solid ground I needed to finally start building my way out. My 6 unfiltered steps to freedom. Step 1. The no-shame financial audit. The very first and probably the most painful step was what I now call a no-shame financial audit. This just meant facing the brutal, unfiltered truth. I gathered every single piece of paper I'd been avoiding, credit card statements I'd stuffed in a drawer, unopened letters from collection agencies, student loan notices, all of it. I laid it all out on my floor, took a deep breath, and made a master list. I wrote down every single debt, who I owed, the total, and the interest rate. It came to a staggering $32,450, not even counting my student loans. Seeing that number in black and white felt like a punch to the gut. Then I went through 3 months of bank statements and tracked every single dollar I'd spent. I didn't judge, I just wrote it down. Every coffee, every subscription, every late-night food delivery. It was about turning the lights on in a very dark room. It hurt, but it was also incredibly empowering. For the first time, the monster I was running from had a face and a name. It was no longer a vague cloud of dread, it was a number on a page. And a number is just a problem you can solve. You can't build a plan on fear, but you can build one on facts. This step is non-negotiable. Step 2. Creating a realistic freedom budget. With all that cold, hard data, I created my first ever real budget. But I didn't call it a budget. That word felt so restrictive, like a cage. I called it my freedom plan. This wasn't about what I couldn't spend. It was a plan for how my money would work for me to buy my freedom back. I started with the 50-30-20 rule as a rough guide. 50% of my income for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings and debt. A budget is really just you telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it all went. My freedom plan was my new strategy. It showed me exactly how much I could realistically throw at my debt each month and helped me make conscious spending choices. It wasn't a cage, it was the map to get out of the one I was already in. I listed my total monthly take-home pay, then subtracted my fixed needs. The next priority was the 20% for debt. I paid myself first by setting that aside immediately. Whatever was left was for wants. And listen, I had to be ruthless. In the beginning, my needs and debt took up almost 90% of my income. My wants category was tiny. I canceled every subscription I didn't absolutely need, stopped eating out completely, and found free stuff to do for fun. I had to be tough because my why, remembering that shame in the grocery store, was so much stronger than my desire for a pizza. Step 3. Tackling debt with the avalanche method. So, I had over $30,000 in high-interest debt spread across multiple cards and a personal loan. After a little research, I chose the debt avalanche method. The strategy is simple. You make minimum payments on all your debts, but you throw every single extra dollar you have at the one with the highest interest rate. For me, that was a credit card with a punishing 24.99% APR. Now, some people love the debt snowball method, paying off the smallest debt first for a quick psychological win. And that's great too. But for me, the avalanche method just made more sense mathematically. I knew I'd pay less in total interest over time. This was a marathon, not a sprint, and I wanted to be as efficient as possible. Seeing the interest charges shrink each month gave me all the motivation I needed. I listed all my debts in a spreadsheet, ranked from the highest interest rate to the lowest. My budget showed I had an extra $450 a month. So I made my minimum payments on everything, and then sent that entire $450 to that one high-interest card. Once it was paid off, I took its old minimum payment plus the $450 and avalanched it all onto the next debt in line. As each debt fell, the avalanche of money grew bigger and bigger, creating this incredible momentum. Step 4. Building a starter emergency fund. Before I got too aggressive with the debt, I took a critical first step. I saved a $1,000 starter emergency fund. This is for a reason. This wasn't my full emergency fund, it was just a small buffer between me and life. Because life doesn't stop just because you're trying to pay off debt, right? The car will get a flat tire. The sink will leak. Before I had this fund, any one of those little things would have been a full-blown crisis that I'd have to put on a credit card, digging myself deeper into the hole. That $1,000 was my insurance policy against more debt. It broke the cycle. Knowing I had that cash gave me the peace of mind to attack my debt without constantly looking over my shoulder, afraid that one small misstep would send me right back to the start. I scraped that grand together as fast as I could. I sold old electronics, clothes, furniture. I paused the debt avalanche for about 2 months and funneled every spare penny into a separate savings account I labeled Do Not Touch. Step 5. Increasing my income. About a year into this, I hit a wall. I realized I could only cut my expenses so much. To really speed things up, I had to work on the other side of the equation, my income. There's a limit to how frugal you can be, but there's really no limit to your earning potential. Focusing only on cutting back can feel like you're starving yourself, but focusing on earning more? That feels expansive. It felt like I was back in control. I started small. I had a full-time job in administration, so I looked for skills I could monetize. I started doing freelance virtual assistant work on evenings and weekends, finding clients on platforms like Upwork. It wasn't glamorous, but it brought in an extra $300, $500 a month. That extra cash went straight to my debt avalanche, and it was like pouring gasoline on the fire. Later, I even negotiated a raise at my day job by documenting all my wins and making a clear case for my value. Don't be afraid to find ways to earn more. it's one of the fastest ways to build your financial strength. Step 6. Starting to invest, even when I was scared. This was the final piece of the puzzle, the step that took me from just being debt-free to truly building financial freedom. The moment I paid off my last high-interest debt, I didn't go on some crazy spending spree. I took that massive avalanche of money I was now used to paying, over $1,000 a month by then, and I started investing it. See, getting out of debt is defense. Building wealth is offense. True financial freedom isn't just having a zero balance on your credit cards. It's having your money work for you. It's making money while you sleep. This is where the magic of compound interest comes in. I kept it super simple. I didn't try to pick hot stocks or anything. I opened a brokerage account and set up automatic transfers into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. Basically, I own a tiny piece of the 500 biggest companies in the US. I didn't have to find the money. I just redirected it from my old masters, the credit card companies, to my new future. The crucial mindset shifts. The steps are the how, but they're useless if your head isn't in the right place. The real engine behind my change was all about mindset. First, I had to ditch the scarcity mindset. For years, my internal monologue was, I don't have enough. I can't afford that. And it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. The shift happened when I stopped focusing on what I lacked and started looking for opportunities. Instead of, I can't afford it, I started asking, how can I afford it? That simple switch opened my mind to solutions, like earning more money. Second, I had to embrace delayed gratification. Our world is built on, I want it now. I had to unlearn that impulse. I made a rule for any non-essential purchase, wait 24 hours. If I still wanted it a day later, I'd consider it. Most of the time, the urge just vanished. It's not about depriving yourself forever. It's about choosing your future self over your present self. Third, and this is a big one, I had to stop tying my self-worth to my net worth. A huge part of my problem was shame. I felt like a failure. The moment I separated my identity from my financial mistakes was the moment I could finally deal with them. You are not your debt. You're a person who made some mistakes with money, and you have the power to fix them. Finally, I had to become a student again. I started devouring everything I could about personal finance, books, podcasts, videos. The more I learned, the more confident I felt. Financial literacy is a skill, and like any skill, you can learn it. Honestly, investing in my own financial education was the best investment I ever made. It replaced fear with confidence. The financially free reality. So, what does financially free actually feel like? It's not about Lamborghinis or mansions, at least not for me. It's a feeling. It's a quiet peace. It's paying for a surprise car repair with cash, and it being just an inconvenience, not a full-blown catastrophe. It's having the freedom to leave a job that's making you miserable because you have a cushion that gives you options. For me, financial freedom is freedom from stress. I don't dread the mail. My stomach doesn't drop when I get a call from an unknown number. Money is no longer a source of anxiety. It's a tool to build the life I want. It's the ability to be generous, to help a friend, to donate to a cause I believe in without second-guessing my own budget. It's waking up in the morning and feeling secure, knowing that I built this. I earned this peace. And that feeling is worth more than anything I could ever buy. Look, my journey from being broke and ashamed to this place of peace wasn't magical, but it was simple. It was just a series of small, consistent steps, one day at a time. It all started with one decision, to stop running and turn on the lights. It's about facing the truth, making a plan, and then sticking to that plan. The most important thing I want you to take away is that where you start does not have to be where you end up. I am living proof that you can completely rewrite your financial story. If I could do it, starting from a place of overwhelming debt and fear, I promise you, you can too. It's not about being perfect, it's about being persistent. If this story hit home for you, hit that subscribe button. I'll be diving deeper into each of these steps in future videos. And now I want to hear from you. What is the single biggest financial goal you're aiming for? Drop it in the comments below. Let's declare our goals and support each other. Thanks for watching. It's time to start building your own freedom.